Students, in this video session, we will be learning what is meant by calorimetry and the principle of calorimetry, uses of calorimetry. Calorie. Calorie is the unit of heat energy, right? Calorie is the unit of heat energy. Name itself tells you calorimetry. Calorie is the unit of heat energy. So, unit of heat is calorie. We'll discuss that. Metry. Metry is measurement. Calorimetry is measurement of heat energy. The name itself gives you the definition of calorimetry. Calorimetry is the accurate and precise measurement of heat flow for chemical and physical process. There can be a chemical process or there can be a physical process. If there is any heat flow from one body to another body, using calorimetry principles, we can completely measure the accuracy, the accurate and precise value of heat energy can be calculated using the principle of calorimetry. So calorimetry deals with the measurement of heat energy. That's the basic definition. And it operates under the law of conservation of energy. As we know, energy is conserved throughout the universe. Any form of energy, if it disappear in one form, it will be appearing in the other form. Suppose if kinetic energy is being disappeared, it gets converted into potential energy. If potential energy is disappeared, it gets converted into kinetic energy, vice versa. Likewise, electrical energy, it can be converted into heat energy. Heat energy can be converted into light energy. Like that, if one form of energy disappear, it gets converted to other form of energy. Based on that, we can state this principle as law of conservation of energy. The principle of measuring calorimetry is under law of conservation of energy. Total amount of energy in the universe is always constant, and the principle of calorimetry is heat loss is equal to heat gained. This is principle. Principle of calorimetry is heat lost by hot body is equal to heat gained by cold body. Heat lost by hot body is equal to heat gained by cold body. And the device used to measure absorption or release of this heat energy is called calorimeter. Calorimeter is a device which is used to measure absorption or release of heat energy. Okay. Now let me tell you what is actually calorimetry mean. Say for example, we have body A and this body is in contact with another body B. A and B are in contact with each other. A is at temperature theta 1, B is at temperature theta 2. Two bodies, they have different temperatures. A is theta 1 and B is theta 2. I am considering theta 1 is greater than theta 2. That means body A is at higher temperature than that of body B. As a result, heat energy of A is greater than heat energy of B. A possesses more heat energy than that of B. As a result, when you are bringing A and B in contact with each other, like this may be a conductor. This may be a conductor. If A and B are connected with a conductor, as theta 1 is greater temperature than theta 2, there will be some amount of heat flow from A to B. That heat flow, I can call it as H. Therefore, the amount of heat which is disappeared on A. Now what will be the final heat energy here? Initially I am considering it as HA. Heat H is transferred from this object. So the final heat energy is HA minus H. What about final heat energy on B? It is HB plus H. Whatever the amount of heat energy is lost by the substance A is gained by the substance B. Therefore, total amount of heat in the universe is constant. Heat lost by hot body. How much is the amount of heat lost by the hot body? That is H, which is equal to whatever the total amount of heat lost by hot body, same amount of heat is gained by the cold body. That is heat gained by cold body. This is also H. This is the basic principle of calorimetry. That is called principle of calorimetry. So principle of calorimetry is heat lost by hot body is equal to heat gained by cold body. And this is very important part of this thermal properties of matter. Pay attention. Calorimetry is the study of heat energy, and it operates under law of conservation of energy. Principle of calorimetry is heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body, and the device which is used to measure absorption or release of heat energy is called calorimeter. It is called calorimeter. Let us consider this is object A. From this object, this is at temperature θ1, and this object is losing some heat energy, and that heat energy I am considering it as H. In general, you will be denoting it with Q in this chapter. I am denoting it with Q. Q is the amount of heat energy transferred. Therefore, I can now find out Q is equal to heat lost by substance or gained by the substance. Suppose if the object is kept in surroundings such that its temperature is greater than the surroundings temperature, it loses its heat energy. Suppose if the same substance is placed in the surroundings where surroundings temperature are greater than the substance, in such case it absorbs heat energy. So therefore, Q is represented as heat lost by the substance or heat gained by the substance. And this amount of heat gained by the substance, like for example, I am taking a bowl, and in this there is some matter. It may be solid, liquid, or gas, like any matter it can be. I am placing this on the hot reservoir. Hot reservoir means it can be a stove. It can be a stove. This is providing heat energy to the substance. Initially its temperature is θ1. θ1 is initial temperature. And when you are providing heat energy, you are placing this substance on the stove, and stove will provide heat energy to the substance. Finally, it will be increasing its temperature θ2. This is final temperature. How you are able to tell that heat is absorbed in this case? You are able to tell because the temperature of the system is raised. The temperature of the substance has been increased to θ2. Initially it is θ1. Now it is θ2. So as temperature is increased, if θ2 is greater than θ1, then we say that substance is absorbing heat energy. So heat absorbed can be written as is directly proportional to change in the temperature. Heat absorbed is directly proportional to change in the temperature. More is the temperature change, more will be the heat absorbed. So heat absorbed is directly proportional to temperature, and heat absorbed is directly proportional to mass of the substance. It is directly proportional to mass of the substance. So I can simply write Q proportional to M and Q proportional to delta theta. If I combine these two, Q proportional to M into delta theta. If I remove proportionality, I should include a constant. Therefore, Q is equal to M S delta theta. This is the total amount of heat energy absorbed by the system, where M is mass, S is called specific heat. And this proportionality constant S is called a specific heat. I'll explain what is meant by specific heat in the next slide. And delta theta is change in the temperature. M is mass of the substance. Unit of heat energy, it is joule or calorie. 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. This is relation between calorie and joule. Joule is unit in SI system. Joule is in SI system. Calorie is in CGS. Calorie is the oldest unit of heat energy. 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. And even 1 joule is equal to 10 power 7 erg. You can relate 1 joule as 10 power 7 erg. Joule is SI unit of energy. Erg is CGS unit of energy. You can convert energy from joule to erg by multiplying it with 10 power 7. So you are able to transfer heat energy. A substance can gain heat energy or lose heat energy. The gained heat energy or lost heat energy depends upon how much amount of matter it has and its temperature difference. More is the temperature difference, more amount of heat has been absorbed over there. That is the basic relation which is required to measure amount of heat energy for the substance. We have got relation for Q, which is equal to M S delta theta. And what about this S? S can be written as Q divided by M into delta theta, known as specific heat. Now, how can you define this specific heat? See, if you do not know specific heat of the substance, you cannot find out how much amount of heat energy is absorbed by the body or released by the body. So remember, specific heat S is property of a substance. It is property of the substance. Specific heat is the property of the substance. S depends on nature of the material. It depends on nature of the material. Say for example, you have copper. Specific heat of copper is not equal to specific heat of aluminum, and this is not equal to specific heat of gold. All the values are different. Every material has its own property, and the specific heat will be varied from one material to another material. Therefore, the amount of heat absorbed or heat released by any substance is dependent upon its mass, its a specific heat, and as well as the change in temperature in that instant. So S can be now defined as specific heat of the substance is defined as, you are able to see in the definition, Q is the amount of heat absorbed, M is mass of the substance, delta theta is change in the temperature. So you can define specific heat S as the amount of heat energy the amount of heat required by 1 unit mass of the substance. 1 unit mass of the substance to raise its temperature by 1 degree Celsius, whatever it is. If the substance is at temperature 100 degrees Celsius, how much amount of heat energy is utilized to raise its temperature to 101 is called specific heat. Suppose you are considering a substance. This substance is at 20 degrees Celsius and you are taking 1 unit mass. 1 unit mass, that means it can be 1 kg or it can be 1 gram. 1 unit means 1 kg or 1 gram. You are taking this substance and its initial temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. You will be providing some heat energy to this substance, right? You are providing some heat energy to the substance. This heat energy absorbed by the substance to raise its temperature to 21 degrees Celsius. You are providing heat energy. What would happen to the temperature of the substance? 20 will slowly increase to 21. How much heat energy you are giving to raise its temperature from 20 degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius for 1 unit mass of the substance? That means it can be either 1 kg or 1 gram is called specific heat of that substance. Not only 20 degrees, if the substance is at 15 degrees, to raise it by 1 degree, how much amount of heat you are providing to the substance, or how much amount of heat is lost by the substance to decrease its temperature by 1 unit, 1 degree Celsius, is said to be a specific heat of the substance. And unit of specific heat can be written as S is equal to Qm by delta T. What is Q? Q is heat energy. So you can write it as calorie per mass gram, and delta theta it is temperature gram degree Celsius, or joule per kg Kelvin. This is in SI system and this is in CGS system. The gram can be converted into kg, degree Celsius can be converted into Kelvin, calorie can be converted into joule. So CGS unit of specific heat is calorie per gram degree Celsius, and a SI unit of specific heat is joule per kg Kelvin. And this is what you need to remember. See, let us take specific heat of water. Specific heat of water is measured as 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. That means if you are taking 1 gram of the substance, in order to raise its temperature by 1 degree Celsius, 1 calorie of heat energy is required. For 1 gram of water, if you are providing 1 calorie of heat energy, it raises its temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So specific heat of water in CGS system, this is in CGS system, it is 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Now specific heat of water is equal to 1 calorie is 4.18 joule divided by gram can be converted into kg, that is 10 power minus 3 kg per degree Celsius. Degree Celsius, whether it is in CGS or MKS system, its value I am maintaining it same. It is raised by only 1 degree Celsius. So you can even take it as Kelvin also, because temperature change in Kelvin scale and temperature change in Celsius scale will be same, because the number of divisions on the Celsius scale is 100 and number of divisions on the Kelvin scale is also 100. If 1 degree is raised on Celsius scale, 1 degree will be raised on Kelvin scale. So here in this case, you can clearly write 4180 joule per kg Kelvin. See here, specific heat of water, if you are taking 1 gram, you require just 4.18 calorie. If you are taking 1 kg, you require 4180 joule of heat energy. Right? So that is the difference between specific heat of water in CGS system and SI system. The amount of heat required to raise the temperature in CGS and MKS is not same. heat required will be different, definitely, because mass is increasing. As a result, amount of heat energy also should be increased. Already we have discussed what is specific heat. Specific heat can be defined as S is equal to 1 by m into delta Q by delta theta, where delta theta is change in the temperature. SI unit of specific heat is joule kg per Kelvin. CGS unit of specific heat is calorie per gram degree Celsius. Dimensional formula of specific heat is L square T power minus 2 into theta power minus 1. And molar specific heat capacity. Molar specific heat capacity is quite different than that of specific heat. Yeah, we are calculating specific heat only for 1 unit mass, right? Only for 1 unit mass you are calculating specific heat. That means either you can take 1 kg or 1 gram. For that, how much amount of heat energy is required, that is called specific heat. Likewise, when you are dealing with gases, mass of gas can be measured in moles. Number of moles is equal to mass divided by gram molecular weight, or you can write it as weight by gram molecular weight. So you can write it as mass by gram molecular weight gives you number of moles of the substance. Usually, if you are dealing with gases, for gases, we refer mole. 1 mole of gas, 2 moles of gas, 10 moles of gas, 100 moles of gas. So if you are taking a gas and this is 1 mole, for 1 mole, how much amount of heat energy? You are providing some heat energy such that its temperature is raised by 1 Kelvin. Its temperature is raised by 1 Kelvin. If you are providing heat energy to 1 mole of the substance, how much heat energy is required to increase its temperature by 1 Kelvin is called molar specific heat. Is called molar specific heat. Molar specific heat is denoted with C. Molar specific heat is denoted with the C, which is delta Q divided by N into delta theta, where N is the number of moles of the substance. And what about the unit of this? Unit will be same to same, joule, but instead of kg or gram, you will be taking here mole for molar specific heat. And in CGS unit also, calorie per mole degree Celsius. Dimensional formula will be remained same, but in the denominator instead of mass m, there will be mole written. So as we know, whenever we are dealing with gases, let us consider a gas and there is a movable piston. This is a movable piston. And you are taking some gas inside this. You are taking some gas inside this container. This gas has particular pressure and as well as volume. Gas has some pressure and gas has some volume. When you are providing heat energy, what would happen? Pressure can increase or volume can increase. Usually, if you are providing heat energy, if you are heating a gas, this substance would undergo expansion. Final volume will be Vf greater than initial volume Vi. Final volume is increased. So as volume increases, what would happen to pressure? Pressure should decrease. So final pressure is less than initial pressure. Therefore, when you are providing heat energy to gaseous substance, sometimes volume may be remained same, pressure may be changed with respect to temperature. Sometimes pressure may be constant and volume can be varied. Like see here we have PV is equal to nRT. This is an ideal gas equation. If V is equal to constant, pressure changes with respect to temperature. As temperature changes, pressure can be undergoing change. If suppose pressure is equal to constant, volume is directly proportional to temperature. So for gases especially, when you are taking a gas in a container, if you are providing heat energy to that gas, one parameter can be maintained constant. Either it can be pressure maintained constant or it can be volume maintained constant. If pressure is maintained constant, volume changes, volume increases with temperature, volume decreases with temperature decrease. Similarly, if pressure is variable, volume remained constant, pressure changes with the temperature. As temperature increases, pressure will be increased. So for gases, we have two different types of specific heats especially. And the two specific heats are, number one, specific heat of gas at constant volume, where volume of the gas is maintained constant. And the other one is specific heat at constant pressure. Constant pressure is denoted with Cp. Cp and Cv are molar specific heats at constant volume and as well as constant pressure. So remember that specific heat depends only on nature of the material and as well as temperature. Usually temperature dependence of the specific heat is neglected. That means because we are taking only 1 gram or 1 degree Celsius change to calculate specific heat, therefore specific heat not drastically changes with temperature. That you should keep it in your mind. And specific heat varies with temperature when heat energy is given to the substance. If this is variable specific heat, you will be writing it as Q is equal to ms delta theta, where theta 1 is initial temperature, theta 2 is the final temperature. This is for variables. So whenever any physical quantity is variable with respect to time or with respect to position or with respect to any parameter, you will be using differentiation and integration that you will be learning in kinematics, of course. So this is about specific heat, molar specific heat at constant volume, specific heat at constant pressure. From the definition of the specific heat itself, like S is equal to delta Q by M into delta T, we can term this specific heat into three different types. Number one, it is specific heat. That means if you are taking mass 1 kg or 1 gram, how much heat energy is required to raise its temperature, it is denoted as specific heat. If you are taking 1 mole of the substance, the same formula should be called it as molar specific heat because you are considering only 1 mole. Suppose if you are taking total mass of the gas, like say for example you have gas and this gas is like 10 gram. 10 gram of gas is present. If it is 1 gram, you call it as specific heat. But if it is 10 gram, total amount of heat absorbed to raise its temperature by 1 degree for the total 10 gram of mass is called heat capacity. It is called heat capacity. Heat capacity is denoted with H. Let us consider it as H. So I can simply write heat capacity H is equal to M. M is total mass of the substance into specific heat. So if you multiply specific heat of the substance with the total mass, you will be getting heat capacity. Say for example, for 1 gram, it requires 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. For 10 gram, how much amount of heat is required? Obviously, it becomes 10 calorie per gram degree Celsius. What you are doing? You are multiplying 10 with the specific heat, yes. This gives you heat capacity H. Okay, so heat capacity is defined for total mass of the substance, and for 1 gram you call it as specific heat, and for 1 mole you call it as molar specific heat. Molar specific heat can be of two types. It can be Cp or it can be Cv. One more important thing. We already have relation S is equal to delta Q by M into delta theta. S is equal to delta Q by M into delta theta. For example, if delta theta is equal to 0, that means if specific heat, like if delta theta, you are providing heat energy, but the substance is not increasing its temperature. If delta theta is equal to 0, then S will be equal to delta Q divided by 0. Something by 0 gives you infinity. So specific heat of that substance, even though you are increasing you are providing heat energy, but it is not increasing its temperature. In such case, specific heat tends to become infinity. Likewise, if delta theta is equal to infinity, then S will be something by infinity, which is equal to 0. So clearly you can understand specific heat, S can take any value between 0 to infinity. Specific heat can take any value between 0 to infinity, but it will not take negative. So negative in the sense body is losing heat energy. Remember in this, S is always positive, its value will be from 0 to infinity. S will be negative if and only if the substance is losing heat energy. It loses some amount of heat energy, as a result its temperature fall down by 1 degree Celsius. Therefore, S will be negative when it is losing heat energy. But when you are providing heat energy to the substance, definitely its value will be varied from 0 to infinity. It can take any value. We already have discussed what is meant by specific heat. S is equal to delta Q by M into delta theta, and Cp is equal to 1 by N into delta Q divided by delta theta, and this is when pressure is equal to constant. Cv is equal to 1 by N delta Q divided by delta theta, and this is when volume is constant. Cp is not equal to Cv for a gas. Cp is greater than Cv. Cp minus Cv is equal to R. This equation we will prove it in next coming slides. Now specific heat of the substance, like S, which is independent character of the material. Specific heat for water is the largest value. So water has largest specific heat among solids and liquids. Therefore, it is used as coolant in automobile radiators. Water, specific heat of water is equal to 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius, or 4180 joule per kg Kelvin. So for 1 kg, you need to provide an amount of 4180 joule. That much heat energy is required to raise its temperature by 1 degree. Therefore, specific heat of water is much greater than that of any other solid and as well as any other liquid. Specific heat of solid is much greater, so it is used as coolant in radiating engines. It is used as coolant in industries. It is used as coolant in power stations to cool down the automobiles and to cool down the machines. We will be using water as coolant. Among solids, liquids and gases, specific heat is maximum for hydrogen. For hydrogen, the value is 3.5 calorie per gram degree Celsius, and minimum for radon and actinium, it is nearly 0.022 calorie per gram degree Celsius. So hydrogen has maximum value of specific heat. It is greater than solids, liquids and gases. Minimum is for radon and actinium. It is 0.022 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Next is specific heat slightly increases with increase of the temperature. So it is slight increase in the temperature. Specific heat will be slightly changed with respect to temperature. That means, say for example, at 30 degrees Celsius, specific heat of water if it is considered as 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius, at 100 at 99 degrees Celsius, specific heat of water is slightly greater than this. It is 1.1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Very, very small for that much change in the temperature. So if you are measuring specific heat of water at 99 degrees Celsius, in order to raise its temperature by 100, like to make it 100, it will be taking, instead of 1 calorie, it takes 1.1 calorie. Therefore, you can tell specific heat slightly increases with increase in temperature. And among liquids, specific heat is minimum for mercury. For liquids, specific heat is minimum for mercury. And the value of specific heat may lie between 0 and infinity, as we have discussed in the previous slide. And about this isothermal change, we will be discussing in thermodynamics. We'll learn that later. So an isothermal process, value of specific heat is infinity, but adiabatic process, specific heat is 0. So S is a 0 in adiabatic process, S is infinity in isothermal process. That we will discuss in next coming videos. And specific heat of all substances is 0 at 0 Kelvin. We already discussed that at a 0 Kelvin, the molecular vibration ceases to 0. It is therefore called as absolute 0. As a result, specific heat of all the substances will be at 0 Kelvin, it is always 0. And substances with high specific heat are bad conductors of heat energy, and with low specific heat are called thermal and electrical conductors. Water, it has greater specific heat. Therefore, it is bad conductor of heat energy. Whereas if you are taking copper, copper has less specific heat. Therefore, it is good conductor of electricity and as well as good conductor of heat energy. So all metals are preferably good conductors of electricity and as well as heat energy. The substances with large specific heat warms up slowly and cools down slowly. For example, if you are taking water, it has very large specific heat. To raise its temperature, it takes a lot of time. To decrease its temperature, it takes a lot of time. But whereas if you are taking the substance whose specific heat is less, if you are taking iron, its specific heat is less than that of the water. So rapidly it cools down, rapidly it gets heated up. But whereas if you are taking water, it may not happen the same way. The time to decrease one temperature for copper is not equal to that of water because their specific heats are different. And it's one more table given here. Specific heat table. For water, it is 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. For ice, it is 0.5 calorie per gram degree Celsius. And for steam, it is 0.47 calorie per gram degree Celsius. These are the values you need to remember. CGS values you remember. Specific heat for water, specific heat for ice, specific heat for steam. 1 calorie, 0.5 calorie, 0.47 calorie. For steam, it is less. It is 0.47. For ice, it is 0.5 and maximum is for water. So these values are very important to be noted. You need to remember this because we will be solving many problems based on these values.